In this video, we're going to go over the ear model. Similar to the eye model, we have 14 terms that are going to be on your practical. You can see them on the right-hand side. And I have separated these terms based on location. So the first three terms here are part of what make up the outer ear. Our middle terms here make up the middle ear. And then at the bottom here, we have our inner ear terms. As we go through the model, I will show you where they are. We'll talk about their functions. And then hopefully in class this will help you, and then you'll also have practice taking the model apart and putting it back together. Okay. So to start off with, we have what we are familiar with as the ear, right? But actually this is called the auricle. It's also referred to as the pinna. I learned it as the pinna, so I tend to say pinna. But your pinna is going to funnel in sound waves into this canal called the external auditory canal. And if I remove this section of our model, we have an excellent view of our external auditory canal. Our external auditory canal is going to direct sound waves for it to hit against this structure, our tympanic membrane. So our tympanic membrane is what we know as our eardrum. As those sound waves hit the eardrum, it is going to cause vibrations in the ossicles. So our ossicles are very small bones in our middle ear. I'm going to take this top part off. Hopefully I'm not going to fall apart too much. And we have three bones here. And I'm actually just going to take this piece out so we can focus on this. The first bone here is our malleus. It kind of means mallet. It's kind of shaped like a hammer. We have our incus, which is the middle ossicle. It's shaped like an anvil. And lastly, we have our stapes, which is shaped like a stirrup. So as sound comes into our external auditory canal, it's going to vibrate against the tympanic membrane and cause vibration that is going to transfer through these ossicles. Now, a side note, this is a cavity we need to maintain pressure in, and that's what this pink tube is going to do. This is your eustachian tube. It can also be called your auditory tube. This tube is going to open whenever pressure needs to be equalized. So you can hear it kind of like open and close when you yawn or when you sneeze, or especially if you swallow, you can hear that noise, which is the eustachian tube. So that's going to equalize pressure. I'm going to go back to the ossicles. You can see that the stapes, this stirrup, connects to this large structure here, and this structure here is going to be our inner ear. This is where our inner ear structures are. So everything that is on these lower popsicle sticks are going to be on this guy right here. Where the stapes connects is called the oval window, and I'm just going to focus on this piece now. This oval window is a part of this kind of section chamber called the vestibule. Okay. As your stapes vibrates from the vibrations that it receives from the other ossicles, from the other ossicles through the tympanic membrane, it's going to cause fluid inside of the vestibule to vibrate. However, with any kind of fluid movement, it needs somewhere to go, and the pressure needs to be able to equalize, and that's why we have this smaller window below that is called the round window. It's a membrane that's going to fluctuate in and out to accommodate for the movement of the oval window. Okay, so they kind of vibrate opposite of one another to accommodate space. three structures, two more structures that we're going to talk about. We mentioned the vestibule. The vestibule's purpose, though, aside from having that fluid that's going to transduct sound, transduct, is going to be these circular structures called the semicircular canals. Together, the vestibule and the semicircular canals are going to help you maintain your balance and the position of your head and acceleration of your head. So the semicircular canals are going to keep balance with rotational movement, while the vestibule is going to maintain balance and equilibrium with linear movement. Finally, we have this little section. It kind of looks like a shell. This is our cochlea. And the sound that is coming into the vestibule from the stapes is going to be transmitted through the cochlea, where it then has receptors to then conduct impulses to send to the CNS. So when those sound impulses are conducted, it's going to be sent through the cochlear nerve. The cochlear nerve connects directly to the cochlea. Your balance is going to be conducted through this one called the vestibular nerve. On our models, they are joined, and there's not really a distinction between the two aside from this slight depression. And so for that reason, we're only going to focus on the joint of the two, the joining of the two, which is the vestibulocochlear nerve. Vestibulocochlear nerve. When you're putting the model back together, say you are holding the tympanic membrane, the stapes needs to point up, and it's just going to rest right on the covering of that external auditory tube or external auditory canal. And then the cochlea is going to rest right into this space with the nerve sticking outward. So then its bony pieces can go back on. So make sure you have practice with that, and if you have any questions, just let me know.